So this guy, if you guys look at my last video, is going on and on about I'm moving the goalpole, about actors, even though we need to have a baseline for what we're talking about. Otherwise, what are we talking about? So yeah, 100% a million is not rich. It just isn't rich. A million is worth about $52,000 in 1930. Is not rich. The whole stigma about $1 million was back in like 1930s, 1920s. Yeah, if you had $1 million back then when stuff cost 9 cents and a brand new car was $4,000, then yeah, you're rich. But some people want to say 5 million you're rich. I personally say 10 million you're rich. If you don't have 10 million, you're not rich. Just do the math. It's not very hard. The other thing I want to talk about is you're talking about the S&P 500. You're actually wrong. The S&P 500 gives about a 7 to 10%, not a 10 to 11%. And if you look at the wealth creation from during COVID, and if you look at the wealth creation even recently, if you would have bought stocks, especially during the COVID era, you would have accumulated so much money in that amount of time. Hence, I'm still investing. Not only that, but you want to show me your house and all your other cars, but you don't understand how rich people think. That's why you're in the predicament that you're in. I mean, I'm not going to talk crap that you're a chef. At least you're actually doing something that is useful to people, you know, feeding people, making food, but your understanding is very limited. Showing a house that you live in is a liability. You should only use houses to make money. And it's funny that you try to talk about how I talk and stuff like that, but bro, you're smoking a blunt. You're smoking a blunt, sitting in your garage, and you're old, bro. I'm not trying to be rude, but at the end of the day, your life is up and you're still working. I don't have to work. You understand what I'm saying? You're showing me a bunch of liabilities. Look at all the cars that I have. Yeah, they're liabilities. They don't generate you any income. You're saying, oh, you're doing blah, blah, blah at an apartment. Yeah, because the properties I do own generates me money. Why would anyone live in a house unless they're having other houses make income for that house? Another thing I want to touch on, because I don't want this to be too long, because you talk for a long time, is that you don't understand margin at all. Not even to the slightest. You probably don't know what margin is. You probably don't know what an actual dividend is. Did you know in margin you don't pay taxes? You have no idea what I'm talking about. Did you know in margin everything is times 4? Here's another thing. I actually teach people how to use margin and how not to get a margin call. It's impossible for me to get a margin call, but you have no idea what I'm talking about. You probably don't know what a T-bill is because you're over here working the job with your gray hair and your blunt sitting in a garage talking about stuff that you just don't know about. You don't. At this point, you're outclassed. You don't know how much the S&P returns. You don't understand inflation.